Alright, we are back once again. I have said I'm going to be consistent and we are continuing this on. It's been like, what, a couple of weeks since my last video? And to be fair, it has felt like a long time, but we're finally back. This is another video that I have spoken about before on my TikTok, and it seems that this PXG versus BM game is finally coming to an end, so I'm just going to talk about it here on my YouTube. Now, seeing the thumbnail title, you know today I'm going to be talking about Shido, a lot of people's favorite character, most definitely not mine. Now, I don't dislike Shido, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a Shido fan. But I can say this, if I was a Shido fan, I would just be so disappointed with like how Shido has been in the Neo Egoist League compared to like prior in the series. Shido was a powerhouse, he was a threat, he was dangerous, he had the presence, Shido had everything. We are literally introduced to Shido eliminating Kunigami, who was a fan favorite for many people reading this story. He eliminates Kunigami, he's trying to fight Isagi, he's the only player other than Rin to score in the World 5 match, he's ranked 2nd in BLUELOCK, and he's got a cool character design. He quite literally has everything going for him. In the 3rd selection, he was an absolute goal machine. He was averaging 2 goals a game, and the only person that was averaging a higher goal per game ratio was Rin with 2.5. And it's not even just that Shido was scoring a lot of goals and he was this huge threat. The type of goals he was scoring was also top tier, where he was using his left, he was using his right, he was so acrobatic. We literally had everything with Shido. We had Ego telling us that no egoist in the entire BLUELOCK program could handle an egoist like Shido. There was nobody, no Hiyori, no Nico, no Rayo, no type of midfielder or any player could handle someone like Shido. And out of everybody in the BLUELOCK program, Rin included, Shido is the one that Sayatoshi wanted to link up with specifically. He chose Shido over Rin. And then we move on to the under-20s game where Shido doesn't actually start because the under-20s players and namely Aiku wanted to prove that they could still win this game without the external help. And spoiler alert, they fucking couldn't. They ended the first half of the game losing. Shido comes on in the second half of this game against BLUELOCK and he absolutely changes the game pretty much immediately. His first play of the game, he just starts darting around the field. He's confusing the BLUELOCK players, he's confusing his teammates. It's not 11v11 for him, it's 1v21 and he's just causing mayhem. He pretty much immediately gets into a position where he can take one of his acrobatic shots, but he isn't stopped, he's fouled. And then in Shido's very next play, which is the free kick following the foul from Nico, Shido scores with an acrobatic shot, his dragon dive, from a top tier pass from Sayatoshi. He has immediately made impact in this game and the shot had Gagamaru rooted. He quite literally couldn't even move. Where he then chooses a questionable line of dialogue, which I'm not gonna fucking repeat here, but you guys know what he said. A couple chapters after that, Shido was stopped by Rayo, but immediately after, Gagamaru boots the ball out and Sayatoshi sends a long pass forward. Gagamaru ends up heading the ball away and Shido thinks he has to redo his attack, but then he suddenly enters flow and everything around him is moving absolutely different. He jumps into the air with the double wings on his back and he scores a bicycle kick from far outside the box, recreating Zlatan Ibrahimovic's goal. Shido pretty much scored 2 goals in 5 minutes, with both of those goals being the best goals of the game, his dragon drive and his big bang drive. And not only that, he was the first player on the entire field to enter flow. Shido during the under-20s game was absolutely a force to be reckoned with. Not only are the previous things I mentioned true, but he was the only person in this game to score multiple goals. The other people like Burū, Isagi, Rin, Sayatoshi, etc., they all got 1 goal apiece. Shido came on and scored 2 in 5 minutes. And now, although Shido and his team lost this game, which is no fault of his own, we see Shido as this big threat going into this new arc, the Neo Egoist League, and we think he's going to continue his dominance. Now that we move on to the Neo Egoist League, we can talk about Shido and where his decline kind of starts. The team that Shido had chosen for the Neo Egoist League was PXG, which coincidentally, so had Rin, and that may have been his most unlucky pick. The reason I say this is because we all know Rin is a far more important character than Shido, and Rin's always been number 1, so we knew Rin was going to outperform Shido while them being on the same team. And this is far more problematic in the Neo Egoist League than it is in any other arc, because with the Neo Egoist League, these games are first to 3 goals and there's only 4 games in them. So if Rin scores 1 goal in a game, Shido has no chance to get a hat-trick no matter what he does. If Rin scores 2 goals, then Shido can only get 1 at maximum. Not only do these things dampen the image and presence that Shido holds in this manga, but it's also the fact that we don't get a lot of PXG content anyway, because this Neo Egoist League is just following Isagi's perspective, so we're just getting BM games regardless. But moving on to PXG's first game, they ended up playing Ubers, and in this game Shido scored 1 goal, which we never even got to see, the goal was off screen, and Rin scored 2 goals, and we got to see his final goal, but not his first goal. Now there's a lot of debate in the Blue Lock community as to did Lorenzo play, did Lorenzo not play. We know Burū didn't play, but we don't really know if Lorenzo did. But with the performance that he put up against Uber, Shido got a value of 20 million, which didn't even put him in the top 3 values for the first round of the Neo Egoist League. In first was Rin with 36 million, in second was Barcha with 32 million, and in third was Kunigami with 24 million. So already from the start, he wasn't really showing the levels and presentation that we was getting prior. And I do understand playing against harder players, he may play a bit worse, but it kind of does decrease the value of Shido's image. He's end up 4th in this round. Shido's next game was against Manshine when PXG played Manshine, and a lot of people think that Shido didn't play or he was swapped out due to the Rin system and Shido system that Loki had ended up introducing to the team. I'm here to tell you right now, this is cap. This is straight BS. To start with, let's get rid of the whole Shido didn't play narrative. We know he played because his value went from 20 million to 25 million. So he didn't do much because he only got a 5 million increase, but he most definitely played. Now, to address the Rin system, Shido system thing that people thought was in place, so Shido was swapped out for Rin, this is not the case either. This system didn't even exist in their second game against Manshine. A way that we can explain this is that we know that in Shido's system, Zantetsu is part of Shido's, so he is on Shido's side. Yet at the end of the Manshine game, when Rin has scored his hat-trick, Zantetsu is on the field. So Zantetsu is on the field at the same time as Rin, it means that that system didn't even exist yet. So Rin and Shido both played at the same time. Shido wasn't able to score and Rin dropped a hat-trick and went from a value of 36 million all the way up to 180 million, which is still the largest increase for any value jump we've seen in the Neo Egoist League, and Shido only went from 20 mil to 25 mil. Now, this next game for Shido, although he played the best that he had done so far in the Neo Egoist League, this one might be the worst when it comes to the tank that his reputation felt. In the game against FC Barcha, we are introduced to Charles, who we see playmaking for both Rin and Shido, and this is the game that the Rin system and the Shido system is actually introduced. So these guys are swapping in and out of the game every 15 minutes. In this Barcha game, Rin is the one that subs on first, and he scores the first goal, and then when Shido gets subbed on, he scores quite an acrobatic goal, which we have come to know him for. And then a lot of the game ends up being off screen. During this time, Shido apparently ends up shooting 12 times in this game, and only gets 3 of those shots on target. But with that stat line, that makes me think that's also what happened in Manshine, because he played the entire Manshine game but wasn't able to score. So was he missing a lot of shots in that game too? Shido does score the final goal of the game, making it 3-2 to PXG against Barcha, and the goal he scores it's a scruffy header. And from these 2 goals that he scored in that Barcha game, his value shot up from 25 million up to 100 million, which is a 75 million increase. And now it is very impressive having 100 million value. That's really cool. But to me, it just felt so forced. I personally don't think that Kaneshiro did a good job of convincing me that like Shido put up a top tier performance that shot him up from 25 million up to 100 million, which put him 4th in the Neo Egoist League. To me, Shido getting this 100 million value felt like a way for Kaneshiro to just shoehorn him into this final game, where it's Isagi and Kaiser, the double aces, going up against Rin and Shido, the double aces. It kind of felt like he was just shoved into this narrative. And this feeling I have just gets so much stronger during this PXG versus BM game. It is actually insane. In this PXG versus BM game, this game pretty much started, I think, chapter 249, and within 4 chapters, Shido had already scored, and I was upset, I'm not gonna lie, because I knew this was gonna happen. I made a prediction on my TikTok before it even happened, before the game started. I said they was gonna get Shido out the way very quickly, and that's exactly what they did. This game was framed narratively as if it was the 2 aces going up against each other, the big 4 going up against each other, and to me, I just feel like that was never really the case or the intention for the author. With how quickly he got Shido out the way by having him score within 4 chapters, and throughout this entire game, this has quite literally just been the Isagi, Rin, and Kaiser show. To make matters worse, it seems as though the author kind of just shoehorned in a really forced rivalry with Kunigami and Shido, where we see no indication from Kunigami throughout the entire Neo Egoist League that he holds a grudge against Shido or he's feeling this way or anything like that. There's quite literally no inclination for anything like that. But then we get after Shido's goal, Kunigami swaps to CDM and he's got this grudge against Shido, and Shido's the guy that ruined his life. And now he's man-marking Shido and doing everything he can so that Shido can't score or even get the ball. And to make matters worse, this quite literally works. Kunigami has moved from striker to CDM. He's had no type of defensive training or anything, and he is able to keep Shido out of the game for damn near over 20 chapters. Kaneshiro quite literally wrote Shido out of the game, and the whole time he was written out of the game, Isagi scored, Kaiser scored, and Rin scored. And now in these recent chapters, Shido's kind of just doing stuff to fill out the page count. He's passing the ball to Rin, which is like, I mean, I guess Ren's not even passing the ball back, and they're not getting anything out of these plays. Kunigami quite literally was subbed out of the game because he ran out of stamina. He came back in 3 minutes later, and he's not even marking Shido anymore, and Shido still isn't even an offensive threat because his time in the focus is done. It's the Rin show now, it's the Isagi show, it's the Kaiser show. Shido's current value is 100 million, and I don't even know what value I would give him for the performance he's put in, because sure, he has scored, and this is the highest level game we have had so far in the Neo Egoist League. But besides that, and to me it was the worst goal in the game anyway, he hasn't done anything else. Like, there's a lot of people saying that he's gonna surpass Barū's value, and like, I can't for the life of me understand how based on this performance we can give Shido a value of over 150 million. And I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely think Shido's time is done. The presence he had in the series is already gone, and I don't think Shido will ever be top 3 in this story ever again when it comes to people in the under 20s category. I don't think he will ever be better than Isagi. I don't think he will ever be better than Rin. I don't think he will ever be better than Burū going forward. I think if Nagi locks in and Nagi's fully motivated, I don't think he will ever be better than Nagi. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely think Shido, he was here, now he's floating like somewhere around here. And this is not even to say that Shido has been like bad throughout the Neo Egoist League. He's currently ranked 4th in the NEL 100 million value. In the 4 games he's played, he has 4 goals, which the only people that have more goals than him in the Neo Egoist League are Burū and Rin. So like, he's played well. I just think the handling and representation of Shido as a character has just plummeted. Maybe during the under 20s World Cup, I'd be interested to see like a Shido backstory, because I do think he has an interesting philosophy and a view on football, so maybe that could breathe some new life into his character. He may become a top tier again, like in terms of as a player, maybe top 3. But for now, Shido's done. But hey, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Am I hating? Am I clueless? Or am I spitting facts? If you want another video, let me know in the comments. If you like the video, drop a sub, and let me know you fuck with the uploads. But that's been me. Peace.